Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the mini-series of Miss America. Last night was the first night of prelim competition, and when I tell you, I think this is Miss America 3.0. Starting the show out, they had the teen singing the national anthem, and I don't know who sponsored her dress last night, but it was drop dead gorgeous. Now I completely understand why she won. I was unable to watch the Outstanding Teen competition this past July, but oh my goodness, that girl stole the show. Right off the bat, they had all of the contestants come out and they were wearing black and white outfits, jumpsuits and skirts and shorts and cute frilly tops. It was adorable. I loved that because it lets them be their own unique self. And if you didn't know, Tracy and Mackenzie Faggart of Mackenzie Jades in Concord, North Carolina, got the phone call this week and were choreographing Miss America a day later. How fantastic is that? I cannot wait to see them at Miss America this week. I will be there on Wednesday, so I will be there tomorrow. Super excited. So, going straight into this opening number, everyone is standing on stage backwards, and Emma, the reigning Miss America, walks through and they all turn around. It was a very simple and clean opening number, great for a first night show. Usually there's a lot of hiccups, but it was so well done. It was amazing. Next, they rolled into their name calling who they are and what their name was. Then Miss Tracy and Kinsey said, oh no, we're about to do another dance routine. So they did a whole nother dance. And let me tell you, if they do not hire them again next year, I will have to boycott Miss America. This was amazing. It was show-stopping. It was such a performance. 10 out of 10 to them. Miss America, if you're listening, you better bring them back because that was an opening number of Miss America 3.0, if you ask me. They have all of the teens sitting on the stage, which I think was a great idea to give them another chance to be seen. They had never done that before. I had never noticed it. They normally have them all in the audience sitting together, but I really appreciated that they were all allowed to sit on stage and get a front row view of the Miss America Live. They started off with the host, who was a former Miss California. She was in Hamilton and also on Wedding Season on Netflix. I'm not sure if that's a TV show or not. She was really pretty, very sweet. And then Emma, oh my goodness, I really had been trying this year to figure out and understand what sold them on her, and not in a negative way. You're not there, you're not in the interview, you don't know. I was absolutely sold on Emma after watching this prelim show. I knew exactly why they picked her. She's bubbly, she's brilliant, she's like a chemical engineer or something crazy, and being a woman in STEM, that is a really big deal. I totally understand it myself. I work for an aerospace engineering company, so it is something that is amazing treasure to have in your toolbox. Right off the bat, they talked about having people's choice, and you will get an automatic spot in the finals and a $5,000 scholarship to take home with you. And they said every dollar after tonight, which was last night, will be doubled in votes. So that's pretty awesome. You put $1,000 down, you get 2,000 votes. That's so awesome. And I love how Emma was on stage. She was very personable and giggly and loving and really entertaining and capturing the audience's attention. So I really appreciate that. Then they rolled into introducing the judges. They have an author, actress, they have an NBA player, they have a former New Hampshire who's an anchor and has a podcast. They have a bronze medalist, which was a figure skater, and they also have another actress in a home improvement TV show. And then again, they have Ernest & Young calculating their tabulations like they do every year. Then they rolled into giving a little behind the scenes history of the MAO system, and things that they pointed out that I want to make sure these three words are heard are smart, well-spoken, and talented. And they kept saying those words over and over and over, and that's what they were looking for in each of the competitions or events this evening and throughout the whole week at that. You could also tell that this was a really large, almost like a gym space. And so I'm interested to see what that's like at the final show on Thursday because I will be attending that. So I will be giving live feed updates from my @Crowning Moment podcast account on Instagram. So definitely check that out right before Miss America on Thursday evening. They started out with the first round of social impact statements, and how they did this, they did 3 rounds of each. So social impacts, talent, and evening gown or red carpet wear. They did 3 different rounds, evenly split it up, which was kind of nice. So it wasn't just all evening gown, all social impacts at once. You got a little taste of everything. I'm just going to name my standouts in these groups because I don't want this to be super, super long because it's just a small clip of what I thought about the night. So definitely my standouts from the first round of social impacts were Massachusetts. She wore a baby blue jumpsuit. It was very, very beautiful on her skin tone. And at first the mic wasn't on, but you could kind of tell she was already passionate. So hopefully the people at the competition could actually hear what she said in the beginning. But she talked about how she has been a Special Olympics volunteer for 15 years, and her brother is also special needs. And then she talked about her platform or her social impact: representation matters, embracing diversity. And I really loved everything she spoke about. You probably can check it out on her social media account, but definitely a standout person to start the night off. My other standout in this group was Miss Mississippi. Her social impact statement was music is medicine. And she talked about working with all ages, not just going into classrooms. She talked about going into retirement communities and nursing homes and talking to people of all ages. And she had a really great ending to this in a beautiful blue jumpsuit that I really loved. I put love, love, love this blue jumpsuit. So Mississippi and Massachusetts right off the bat were two standout contestants that I noticed going into the night. Next, they had their first round of talent competitions. And again, I'm just naming a few in the group that really stuck out to me. Starting off with Michigan, I posted her on my social media. When I tell you this girl went ham on the violin, like ham. I have yes. Again, this is just all my opinion. This reminded me a lot last year of, I want to say it's Lauren Bradford was her name, and she was Miss Alabama. She went hardcore on that violin. It was amazing. Next was Hawaii. I could not figure out why she looked so familiar. Then boom. Hawaii Miss in Miss America was the former Hawaii Teen USA. She did a musical theater production or talent for the evening, and she talked about how I think it was her grandmother or her mother was a Radio City Rockette, and I thought that was really cool to throw in there, so you could definitely tell that she had dancing or musical theater in her genes, and she was so muscular. I just want to point that out. She had an amazing costume, and she was just such a great performer to watch. The way that she flipped over, such an entertaining performance to watch. Next in that group, who I also posted about on my social media, you can check out those photos from Kay Garcia Productions. They're also on my Crowning Moment podcast Instagram. Louisiana. Girl, oh my goodness. I love me a classic blue suede shoes clogging routine. And she had this velvet jumpsuit. It was stunning. I wish that she would have done her hair in like a lower ponytail or like a bun. That I feel like it would have been a little less distracting. But when I say she clogged the ever-living daylights out of that stage, they didn't even need to mic her. Like, she did the whole thing. And then the last standout in this group, which I mean, it had to be neck and neck for that talent event that night, because Marilyn sang I Dreamed a Dream. You know what I'm talking about. It's like, I dreamed a dream in time gone by. Get my lovely, lovely singing here. She sang that, started on the ground, and then stood up in this black gown. The gown was a little too short, but it didn't matter. She sang her little heart out. Oh, she sang it so well. I don't know how she, it had to be neck and neck for talent. Moving on to the first round of the red carpet competition, which is normally just the evening gown competition. They mentioned a lot about Miss America, does a lot of red carpet events, and does media events. So they're looking for, can you answer that question on the fly? It may not be very pertaining to your platform, but it's something that's going on in society and the world right now. My standout for this group was Mississippi. I absolutely loved her gown. It was a white gown with a blue AB stoning to it. And her question was, if you were chosen as Miss America, how would you promote diversity to children in school? I also noticed she was the only one that they actually asked if you were crowned Miss America or if you were chosen. And that was very interesting. And after all the questions I had gone through, I didn't see them ask that again. So that was an interesting way they asked that question. And she said that she was already doing it. She would help them by being heard and seen and going through the curriculum and having that is adaptable for all students, and just to make it bigger on the level as Miss America, more than what she's doing already as Mississippi. Then they talked a little bit about their sponsors, and then they finally rolled into the second round of their social impact statements. I had a couple in this group that really stood out to me, and that was West Virginia. She had a whole platform about growing ag. So in West Virginia, there's a lot of agriculture going on. And so she talked about, bridging the gap between producers and consumers and how she interviews different people in the ag industry. And she, end of it, finished with, industry that feeds you is an industry worth fighting for. And I thought that was an amazing way to end her social impact statements. Next, we had Florida. Oh my goodness. I am in love with Miss Florida. She definitely is going to be a top 5 pool. Like, I would be so shocked if she wasn't, because I think she's the total package. I was in love with her white suit. Her social impact statement was prescription for change. She's just beautiful. She honestly looks like a weather woman. Like, I don't know what she does in her day-to-day job, but she would be perfect as an anchor somewhere if she isn't already. And she did go over a little bit in her time, but it was just such a good social impact statement and talking about the opioid crisis. Like, it was amazing. So I really, really appreciated hers. Next, Miss North Carolina. Social impact statement was about hashtag self-care, eat to success. And it was a lot about promoting wellness and how she has a cookbook, and she wants to launch a college tour about bringing wellness to all Americans but it starts with caring for yourself. I gave her a 9 with this, and she had a beautiful black jumpsuit with it. She was just very well spoken, and it was just very simple and explained it perfectly that everyone would understand, of all ages. Rolling into the second round of talent, my 2 standouts in this group were definitely Nevada singing opera. She had this beautiful velvet blue gown. It was very entertaining and very well done. She was such a great performer as well. And then Nebraska. I'm so surprised that she also, like, that, I'm telling you, that top had to be neck and neck, because Nebraska was a baton twirler, and she did the song Salute, and it was so good. And she was spinning and twirling. She did spins while she was twirling her baton, and then had 2 batons. It was very entertaining, and then popped up with 3. Like, she definitely has to be in the top 5 for talent, without a doubt. Next, in our second round of red carpet events, one of the things I forgot to mention in the beginning was they started with the question of the girls answering it on the screen of, when was the first time you saw Miss America? So hearing those moments was really sweet. Some of them said, like, I never thought I could be Miss America, here I am, or I remember watching him at the shoe parade in Atlantic City. Just such sweet moments that girls could just talk about, what Miss America basically means to them. And my 2 standouts in this group were Florida again. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She had a gold and nude gown. I love this, in all caps. And she had such a great walk. And her question was, do you believe the pandemic raised the opioid crisis? And she said, absolutely. And we need to go ahead and work on it now, because we won't see the effects of it until about 5 years later. And she related it back to, like we did with 9/11. You never knew what the aftermath or the effects from the buildings falling and the dust in the air really did to people. So she said, go ahead and let's jump on this now. She had things that she was ready to put in action as Miss America. And then the next one was Pennsylvania. I also loved, she had a gold and nude, almost like a leaf design, but fully rhinestoned. And her question was, what do you think the biggest misconception of mental health is? And she said, people are talking more about mental health in general, which is great, but they're talking about, take a mental health day or have some self-care, and that's really not the main point here. She wants to break the bad stigmas on words like bipolar and addiction. And I just wish she would have a little bit more time on stage to finish up her question. Rolling into our third round of social impact statements. They only did 3 rounds of all the competitions, so it broke it up nicely. Our third round, my standouts were Oklahoma, and her social impact statement was ending senior hunger. Tennessee, feeding hope, fighting hunger. And she was just such well-spoken person. I really loved her. I had yes in all caps for her. And then Texas, her social impact statement, I literally put mic drop next to it. It was y'all means all. She helped a child raise money to go to college at Harvard, and has lots of partners that she's working with, and that she was ready to, introduce to the Miss America system and have them all work together. She's also her own business owner, which is really cool. Last in our group for talent, we had, my standouts were Miss Indiana, who ended up winning the talent competition of the night for prelims. She did musical theater, and it was definitely from Wicked. It's definitely what it came from. It was a beautiful black and green gown, and just a very good storyteller in general, with the whole musical theater aspect of it. I really appreciated her talent. It was so entertaining to watch. Next in the talent group that I really liked was Alabama. She did a jazz dance. She had a red costume. She started with turns and was very exciting to watch and did like 1,000,005 turns. So I understand why she looked a little tired at the end because she killed that. Finally, for our last group of competition, the red carpet for, I want to say it was the Mew group. The standouts in this group definitely were Tennessee. She had a black mermaid gown with a silver top with cap shoulders that were also rhinestoned, and then the back of her gown where the tail of her mermaid came off, it was rhinestoned as well. And they asked her, how can our education system help better learn for finances and be prepared for that? She talked about, look at the curriculum. Even if they have it, she was like, some schools don't even have it for them. And this is very important to help them learn about finances and how to be financially stable sooner to keep them out of poverty or falling into bad habits by not being financially stable. And I love that. It was a really well-spoken answer. The next one in this group was Minnesota. She had a Native American pattern dress, and it was beautiful on her skin tone. The orange was just stunning. And her question was, in a world that is constantly changing, how can we prove that Miss America has evolved? And she said it's done just that. And she had stumbled a little bit, correcting herself about Emma being the first Alaskan American woman to win. And then she talked about how being diverse and being first of a lot this year in their class of the MAO Queens, of just all the women that are there, and it's a very diverse culture this year at Miss America. And so it was a really great answer. I wish I could have said it better of how she said it because it was very, very well said. Then the last two in this group that I thought were very standout were Wisconsin. I have loved Wisconsin so far. She, I think, is a nuclear engineer, or she's working on being a nuclear engineer. She had this beautiful white gown that I absolutely loved, and she gave red carpet vibes. They asked her, do you believe nuclear fusion would be the future of energy? And she said, yes, absolutely. If we'll be willing to move forward with that. And you could just tell she was very, very, very smart. But she talked about how it will have no harmful effects to our environment because they're using water. It was like a whole sciencey answer, but it was amazing. Very well said. Another one, I wish I could just insert her sound here because it would be great for you guys to hear that. And last but not least, Miss Georgia. She had like this silver nude gown, and her question was, how do you determine what is actually true from the news? And I was waiting for this question to come because that's always a good question to ask for interviews. And she said, it's all about doing your research. You need to step out and actually look for the facts. You cannot just see what is there. You need to actually find the real thing and not just fake news. The prelim winners of the Monday night competition for social impact statement, they got $1,500, and it was Miss Georgia with autism acceptance as her social impact statement. And then the talent winner winning $2,500 was Miss Indiana, and she was a singer. I will be doing my pageant predictions before the Thursday night event, so definitely check out @CrowningMoment on Instagram. Thank you for listening to Monday night's prelim overview of the Miss America 2023 competition. Listen to the next episode to hear what happened in the second night of the Miss America prelims. As well, check out my predictions and what I think will happen at the Miss America competition 2023.